Loot boxes, you either hate them with a passion, or you're indifferent, or you love them. No, no you don't. You don't love them. Nobody has ever loved loot boxes, let's be honest. I am here to discuss the latest trend in gaming, of course, by 2017 standards, is loot boxes. This has been something that's penetrated many video games and video game franchises, and I'm going to give my 2 cents on it because I can actually see both sides of the tale. It's not just, I can see it from a consumer standpoint and also from a developer standpoint. So this whole controversy started off most recently with Trials Rising and the confirmation that loot boxes would be in Trials Rising. Of course, in Trials Rising, they don't call them loot boxes, they call them gear crates. So, yeah, it's the same thing. Basically, this is what they had to say on the Steam page. A developer came out and said, as has been pointed out, these loot crates are purely cosmetic. I do appreciate why players feel the way they do about them. Not a huge fan myself. However, as it was also pointed out, you can always just not buy them. Ultimately, they're intended for players who want something to help them stand out from the crowd when playing online, or even just those who are big fans of the game and want to support us further. Yes, it means that some players end up spending more on our games than others, and that does result in increased profits for us. It also helps us to put more money into new titles and to understand what players look for in their games. If players simply don't buy these crates, they would not be added into games in the future. All in all, loot crates, cosmetic items in general, have been a huge boon for the gaming industry, being a driving factor in the increased popularity of gaming over the past decade or so. They aren't a bad thing if done right. And that's a pretty nice way of summing it all up, I think. And especially the very last thing he said, which he says, they aren't a bad thing if done right. So let's talk about what's right whenever it comes to loot boxes, because loot boxes, as a general rule, are pretty immoral in my opinion, because you're paying money for an item in a game that you're not even sure what you're getting. You're just you're paying money in hopes that you're going to be receiving something that you know is going to be in one of the loot boxes or has the potential of being in the loot crate or loot box. So it's not a guarantee. That's what's so frustrating about it as a gamer, is that I don't want to have to spend $5 on a loot box with the chance of not receiving the thing that I'm trying to get. It just doesn't make any sense from a gamer standpoint. From a business perspective, I can totally understand it, because Statista is a website that goes over general statistics over a variety of different fields. They came out in 2017 and put out an infographic that shows that in 2017, $30 billion were spent on in-app purchases like loot crates, loot boxes, and cosmetic items and things like that. It's expected to rise so that by 2022, that number is expected to jump to $50 billion. That's a huge industry. The mobile gaming market started this whole thing, so you have them to blame for it. I can see where it's a good thing, good, bad, and ugly. So I'll go over the good first. The good thing about loot boxes, some people think that there are none, but I'm gonna stop right there and say that there is some good things about it. And what it is increased profits for the publisher, which doesn't sound really good on the surface, because everybody knows that publishers are evil bastards in the gaming industry. I'm joking. I mean, if Ubisoft, for example, let's say that Trials Rising comes out and these gear crates, as they call them, are hugely successful and it makes them a bucket of money, there are some good sides to that. The good sides is that Trials Rising is further promoted, and there's a better chance that there's going to be more Trials sequels in the future. And you can just replace the word Trials with any other video game franchise that you like. So the more success that these loot boxes see in these certain franchises, the more likely that future installments of the franchise will continue. So, and plus, it gives the developer and the publisher more money to do more with the game, the existing game. Like if they need to do quality control, they noticed some bugs in the game that need to be squashed out, or if they want to add more content, they have the funds to do that because the loot crates are paying for themselves, so to speak. So that's the good side, is that it gives the franchises the financial backing they need to continue forward and providing new content. That's it. But as a gamer, and this is the bad part, The bad part is that as a gamer, I don't know what I'm getting. So if I'm paying money for a loot box, I want to know exactly what I'm getting. I want to know what's inside of it. Like Gears of War, for instance. I love Gears of War 4, and there's a lot of loot boxes in Gears of War 4. I love the game, but it's frustrating whenever okay, well, with this loot box series, there's going to be a bunch of weapon skins, and you have the potential of unlocking certain characters or character skins, and it's very annoying because sometimes I'll have to purchase like 10 or more of these loot boxes with in-game currency, which of course you can buy more in-game currency using real-world currency. It's just it's ugly. But yeah, I've ended up purchasing many loot boxes using in-game currency in hopes that I'll actually unlock the thing that I'm trying to unlock. So if I already have the weapon skins that I want, like, hey, I want to just get the character. I don't care about any of the skins. I'm SOL because I can't just unlock the character. I have to actually get the loot box in hopes that I will unlock the thing that I want. This is bad. This is a very bad thing for games in general because you're wasting a lot of time trying to unlock something that should just be, okay, you want to buy this skin, it's $2.99. Like that's what they did recently with Gears of War 4. They recently ran a Black Steel characters special where you could directly buy these characters that would normally be only in a loot box. So, and that's the whole reason why I avoided buying them to begin with, because there was no guarantee that I would actually get it. So, I skipped it entirely. I'm like, nope, not doing it. And as soon as they put out some characters as the Black Steel characters as a direct purchase, and they listed the prices, I'm like, okay, that's more like it. I want to know what I'm buying. Like, period. It's pretty simple, straightforward. There's a company called Tapjoy that did a survey or a study back in the day, back in 2016, so it's not that old. But still, I think it's pretty relevant today. It's regarding in-app purchases of free apps. There's a small percentage of people that account for 70% of the in-app purchase revenue. So that's quite a lot. So basically what that tells me is that most people probably aren't paying a lot of money for in-app purchases or loot boxes in general. It's probably just a small portion of people that just buy them over and over again and just continually upkeep this revenue stream for the developer. So yeah, 70% of in-app purchases were purchased by what they call whales. So they kind of break up these groups of people into different groups, and I guess the people called whales because they just do all the financial backing pretty much by themselves. So loot boxes are the same way. I hear a lot of people on YouTube and forums and everywhere just saying that, well, if you don't like loot boxes, just don't buy them. And theoretically that would work. That's a very basic thought process where if nobody bought them at all, it would work. If nobody purchased in the entire world any loot boxes whatsoever, then the developer, the publisher would realize, wow, we're wasting a lot of money and development time creating this loot box system just so nobody can use it. So that is a correct statement. However, it's unrealistic because when you take into account that a small group of people account for most of the revenue for these things, you could say that 80% of the people just won't buy anything. Let's just throw some numbers out there. Let's say that 80% of the people who buy a game like Trials Rising just won't buy any loot crates whatsoever, or gear crates, whatever they call them. I'm in that group. I have no intention whatsoever of making an in-game purchase of something that I have no idea what I'm going to get. So if that's the case, then that means that 20% of the remaining players will at least purchase, to some degree, a loot box or multiple loot boxes. So the vast majority of people may not purchase loot boxes, but it's that small minority that makes up the whales of in-app purchases who will fund the game development and make the publisher realize that these are still a good thing. So it's an uphill battle for regular gamers. So people like me, it's like, I'm okay with DLC. I'm 100% okay with microtransactions and DLC. 100% okay with it. The problem is that you don't know what you're paying for, and it becomes kind of like a gamble, where it's just like you're throwing in money and you're just hoping to get what you're trying to get. And this is where the ugly comes in. So recently, the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, was said to start investigating the loot crate business, the loot box fiasco. So I I don't know if this is a good thing, because I don't know if it's a good thing when the federal government steps in to regulate the content of video games. Or anything in general, movies, TVs, music. I mean, I think it should be just, totally open. However, this is a bad thing for the general gamer. It's not necessarily bad for the gaming industry, because the industry is a business. So it's all about the bottom line, it's all about the profits. So as an industry, loot boxes are a good thing because it increases profits. With increased profits, they can continually put out more content, but at the same time, the end user, the majority of end users, suffer from loot boxes because once again, they don't know what they're getting. I think it's a bad thing overall, but I can understand why developers, why publishers are pushing it so hard, because they make so much more money from it. So you have to be able to see both sides, but at the same time, it's an ugly situation. And if the only solution is to have the FTC step in and start regulating these things, it might be a welcome change. It's a slippery slope, so I wouldn't want them to come in and start regulating all game content. I would just want them to kind of dictate what's appropriate and what's not in a business, because it is a gamble, even though it may not be considered as a gamble for some people. So what I think would be a good kind of middle ground, others may disagree, but what I think is that they can have their loot box system. Let's just say that this is the way that I would want to move forward with it. Keep the loot box system, because there'll be lots of people that would give lots of money for these loot boxes, but make the loot boxes slightly less expensive than buying the items separately. So I say give the players the option to do either or. So let's say that Trials Rising, let's just throw it out there as an example. Let's say that the gear crates cost $5 per box, per crate. And you get 3 pieces of gear that are totally random, and they might be totally epic and rare, or they might be relatively common. But the cost of purchasing a loot crate or a gear crate would be less money than purchasing the 3 items separately. So how's that sound? So that way both people win. If you want to take a chance, roll the dice, and pay less money to get something that you might love, you have that option, and you can just be one of the small percentage of people that contributes to the revenue due to loot boxes. You can still be that person. Congratulations, you get to keep your way of life when it comes to gaming. And the other people, like myself, also are happy because we can only buy the specific items we want. So, and the developer also wins, because you get both people providing money to the developer, to the publisher, and win-win. That's the way I see it. That's the way I think that it should be. And like I said, I can see both sides of it, but honestly, overall, loot boxes by themselves are bad for gamers. Bad for gamers. I mean, that's all it comes down to. Good for the industry, bad for gamers. So it's one of those kind of weird things. I've been around for many years playing video games for over 3 decades. Loot boxes are going to change. They are changing the way that we play video games and the way that we perceive microtransactions. They're making it really ugly, a kind of sleazy business model to begin with. They're just there to kind of take advantage of people and just kind of give them a little bit. It's like, okay, yeah, you got, like whenever you buy a baseball card deck, trading cards, you'll get like 1 or 2 good ones, and the rest are just filler. And then you'll go out and buy another one in hopes that you'll get another rare one. And it's just like, man, you're just like nickel and diming people. It's not right. So I think they should keep the loot box system, make it a slightly less expensive than buying the items separately. That way both people win, and everybody wins, and everybody's happy. Most people will be happy. Some people don't want any DLC at all, but that's not realistic. So, but that is all I got on the subject. I want to see Trials Rising succeed. I'm still incredibly excited for the game. I have lots of content planned for this channel for Trials Rising alone, not to mention all the other great games coming out next year. It's going to be a crazy busy year when it comes to video games, and Trials Rising is on one of the highest games that I am excited about. I cannot wait. So, loot crates or not, I am excited. I have already purchased the game. I'm going to get it on Steam as well, so I'm going to have it on Xbox and Steam. And yeah, that is going to be a lot of fun. I will not purchase a single gear crate. Sorry, Redlinks. I love you guys. I know the decision to include gear crates in Trials Rising was not yours. it would have come down from Ubisoft downwards to Red Wings. So regardless of what their position is on it, it is what it is. But I have no intention of ever purchasing a gear crate. I'll buy the game, no gear crates. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you're new. If you want to see more Trials Rising content, there's more on the way. And have an awesome day.